How you doing, Joe?
Not bad, mate. How are you?
Good, good. Just want to say thank you for taking your time to speak to us today.
Yeah, no problem, mate. Sound.
I just want to first say congratulations on securing such a huge fight. Probably the biggest fight for a British fighter, probably since Ricky Hatton versus Mayweather, really.
Yeah, you could say that. You could say it's Hatton Mayweather without the crowd. So
Yeah,
yeah. So no, listen, a huge fight. It's I'd say Wilder Fury too was the biggest fight of the year up to now, and I think this is the biggest fight since the lockdown.
yeah.
Obviously, the pound for pound number one Canelo versus the number one 168-pound fighter in the world, Callum Smith, and good fight. Good fight. Both same age, and yeah, really looking forward to it.
It's going to be a cracking fight. How did you secure this fight? What made it go over the line finally? Because it's been a lot of this fight has been in talks for the last 2 years, 18
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, I think it's you have to speak to Eddie Reynoso on that. This time last year, we were in Arizona, sat down, had a good chat with Eddie and Arizona, and we talked about possibly Callum and Canelo fighting earlier on in the year in May. Obviously, it was a two-horse race between Callum and Billy Joe. Billy Joe got it, and then obviously the lockdown happened, and then we were destined to fight or scheduled to fight this month anyway. And then Canelo had his legal situation going on with falling out of the zone and Golden Boy. And when that was solved, there was talk of us again. And like you say, the fight was done like with literally 10 minutes to go. The day when Canelo said he was going to announce his opponent, no one knew who it was because there was no contract signed on our behalf on our side, and we didn't know whether it was Caleb plan. And yeah, listen, the main thing now, the fight's done. We've all been tested. We've just literally all got our test results through around 10 minutes ago, the COVID test to be able to fly. So that's good. So that's one.
Amazing.
People understand the pressure, the huge pressure this COVID's putting on the team and everyone around to be safe, keep the distance, don't put anyone at risk. We got tested and we've just found out now, like I said, 10, 15 minutes ago, and the sigh of relief that everyone's passed come back negative, and we fly out tomorrow, and it's like, right, we've got to do the best we can and be really careful. By the time we get to Atlanta, a change, and San Antonio, and be there and be careful, and before we go in the bubble for another testing on the Monday, and then we get through that, and then fights on, and we've got to worry about the fight then. But it does put huge pressure on everyone in the team at the moment.
100%. I've had a test myself done, and it's already scary waiting for your results. So for a huge fight like this, I can imagine the amount of pressure that it puts on you, Callum, and the rest of the team. Really.
Yeah, exactly. It's more so that the magnitude of the event as well. I think it's been shown in 200 countries. This is a fight with Canelo that, if it doesn't happen now, might never come around again. Everything to do with it, and that's why everyone around him has been so careful, because no one wants to be the one. I think that it's brought home more when you see Lewis Hamilton couldn't compete at Formula One last weekend because of it. Lawrence Okoye's world title fights off this weekend because his opponent's got it. So it's not something up there in the air, make believe. It's real and it's happening in sport, and you see the Ronaldos and everybody. It's all effective, so we've got to be absolutely on it, and that's why the gym has been locked down for the last 2.5 weeks. His stablemates haven't been allowed to train with him. No Butlers, no Johnsons, no one Tasha, no one's allowed in the gym, just Callum and the team that's travelling. And that's how we've had to be.
Amazing, amazing. You brought up obviously Canelo. He had a few issues with Golden Boy recently. In the past few years, he's always come under criticism. People online, journalists saying that it's kind of like been a path for him to get the easier champions and win these titles in an easier way. I've always thought it was more Oscar. And is it too much of a coincidence that finally he leaves Golden Boy and he finally goes for one of his probably his hardest tests so far? with Golovkin, of course.
Yeah, I say that, but you can't say Triple G and Kovalev were easy fights. Kovalev's a tremendous puncher, light heavyweight. We all seen what he did with Nathan Cleverly. He came from behind and beat Anthony Yarde. Didn't really have time to recover and go again. But I just think Canelo and his team are very cute in knowing when to pick the right fights at the right time. Obviously, Golden Boy obviously made him a huge star. He's out on his own now, and this will be a different experience from him than having the Golden Boy bubble around him, the team around Golden Boy that make that operation run really smooth come fight week. He's out there on his own now for this, so that'll be new for him as well. Canelo will be new for him. It's a crowd of sorts, but it's not the 55,000 that Liam fought when he fought in Dallas. I think there'll be like 14,000, 15,000 there. So it's all new for him. But what you got to understand with Canelo isn't scared of a challenge or fighting anyone. He always wants to fight and test himself at a young age. He went in against Mayweather,
Yeah.
then he's fought everyone else that's been involved. So you can never accuse him of that. He fought Chavez. He's never ducked anyone. He's a thrill seeker. He's an adrenaline junkie. He likes the fast cars, rides wild horses. He likes the challenge. Callum Smith, he sees as the ultimate challenge at 168. And like I say, he took that. And so fair credit for him taking Callum, but huge credit for Callum Smith in this current climate for taking the fight. You hear and we see fighters going and promoters saying, oh, we've got to wait till next year till there's a crowd back. We've got to wait till there's a crowd. I'm sure Canelo would have got more money for this if there's a crowd. Yeah. Callum Smith would have got more money next year with a crowd, but they're not. But Callum Smith's gone, no, if he's picking me, sorry, let's do it. 4.5 weeks notice. I'm going, so full credit to him. He could have said, oh, we'll wait till next year and everything else, but who knows what's going on with this pandemic at the moment, with whether we will be full crowds next year. So don't look a gift horse in the mouth and take your opportunity when it comes, and that's what Callum Smith's done. And I'm a huge believer, fortune favours the brave, and Callum Smith has done that.
100%. How's Callum's mentality at the moment? Is he buzzing for
Callum's
it? Is he
brilliant.
ready?
He's great place. He did 12 good rounds sparring yesterday. He had 6 good rounds today. He's good. We're hugely confident. We know what Callum can do. We've all seen it over the years. We've seen him when he turned professional, when he was sparring Carl Froch, Nathan Cleverly, Tony Bellew. We've seen what Callum Smith can do. And when fight night and the pressure's on, Callum Smith delivers. Unfortunately, so does Canelo. I think for once in Canelo's career, it'd be nice if he just didn't turn up this once. But
Yeah.
no, Callum, we're going in there, and Canelo's up against Canelo. Callum's got to cause Canelo's as much problems as what Canelo is for us. He's fighting some 6'3", the prime of his career. Hasn't fought as regular as he should have for a world title. But on the flip side of that, that's less mileage, wear and tear. His body's grown, it's developed, he's strong, his man strength. Hits hard with both hands, good inside fighter, good long range, and he hits very hard. And anyone that's fought Callum will tell you how hard he hits. Yeah, we're in a good place, and we've not got to be took in by this Canelo aura and this Canelo reputation and everything else. We're talking about a man here, Canelo, who went 12 rounds twice with a 36, 38-year-old Triple G. Middleweight, we've seen someone who was behind in the cards against Kovalev. Anthony Yarde did a better job on Kovalev than Canelo, even though he lost, if you look at it that way. Daniel Jacobs pushed Canelo close and just had a close fight with Rosado. Yarde has gone and lost to Arthur. So you've got to
Even Khan was
humanise it all a
winning.
little bit. Do you understand? Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
he's got 2 arms, 2 legs like everyone else, and we've got to win this to win this.
Even Amir Khan was winning the fight before he got knocked out.
Yeah, well, he was, but Canelo is just a case of timing. It's what he's got. That's what sets out. He's got world-class timing. You look at his knockouts on Amir Khan, Kirkland, Kovalev. He knows when to come strong. He knows to throw the shot. And 15 years of pro, being in the rings with a Mayweather when he didn't disgrace himself, in the likes of Cotto, Shane Mosley. He's been in with some legendary fighters, and you don't beat them without having a good skill set and good timing.
A question just came in. How much will having Liam in his corner be a benefit for Callum, considering he's already fought Canelo?
Yeah, Liam's always in and around. Do you know what I mean? He's in the gym. He's giving words of advice and knows what to expect. But the Smiths or the brothers, every time they fight, they're always sat there near the corner. They're always shouting words of advice. Far in the corner, it's like he's not been in the corner before. It'll be good for Cam, suppose that he's there, but what I say goes. And the brothers always shout words of advice ringside. But yeah, it'll be good for him. But it's. I think Liam's got to be better sat in the front row shouting, because he won't be able to shout in the corner, because that's my domain.
Of course. I don't know if you're allowed to talk about this, but there has been talk already online and in a few interviews with IFL and other platforms that regardless of what happens in this fight, there will be a rematch.
Is that fucking news to me?
I don't
Who
know.
said? Who
There,
said?
there is
Who said? Callum Smith wins. Who said he's got to give him a rematch?
Eddie Hearn.
Well, we all know whether.
We'll leave it at that then.
So you like always. You always believe what you want to hear. But like I say, we've got this fight first, so we'll see what happens.
Prior to this fight, there was always rumors. It was either Canelo or Billy Joe Saunders. Was there ever any talk of fighting Saunders?
No, there wasn't. I think at one point, I think there was an interview done where there was potential talk of making it. Like they could never make that fight behind closed doors in lockdown for the purses that they'd won. Callum being the number one, Billy Joe being a two-time, and they both want paying well for that, and no one was willing to pay up for that money for that. So yeah, that fight wouldn't happen. That's like asking Joshua and Fury to do it behind closed doors. They won't be able to do it.
Yeah,
Just
hundred
doesn't make
percent.
sense.
Quick question. Obviously, I spoke to Natasha just as the Terri Harper and the Thandes fight got announced. She was obviously disappointed that they went for the mandatory. Is there any news on a potential fight with Natasha, whether it's a rematch with Terry or another champion? Because I know she said she got offered peanuts to fight Heather Hardy, which for me is a fight that makes no sense for someone like Natasha, because she should be fighting for a world title, not fighting someone that's on the verge of retirement. Is there any news on Natasha's next fight?
Well, Natasha said it was peanuts. Heather Hardy said she wouldn't go on a diet for the money. So that's all you need to know in that fight. Obviously, she was on a suspension from whatever banned substance she was on with the New York State Olympic Commission, and I wasn't going to put Natasha in with someone that's just failed a drug
Yeah,
test. So that was safety and paramount at all costs. So that was it. Tasha, she's in the gym training, always is, improving loads all the time. Just because they're not letting her fight or giving her a showcase doesn't mean she's got to go away. Shelving her is not going to dampen her or edge her. She's improving all the time. And a lot of people talk about rematches. Natasha Jonas, Terri Harper, I think, is up for one of the fights of the year. It was one of the fights to fight camp. And there's more demand for people to see that than there is Dylan White Povetkin. And if you make a rematch in that, surely there's a rematch of Natasha and Terri Harper, and they all can say, oh, that's it, and you've got to earn your chance and everything else. Natasha proved herself, and that is a fight that has to happen. And Sky and Eddie, like you say, and they say, oh, for Tasha to earn a pay, go to have a popularity, but Natasha's popularity at the moment is very high. Her profile's very high. She's doing punditry work. There's a documentary on her coming out. I think it'll be shown Christmas Day. So she's very, very prolific at the moment. So give her a wage and make the fight, and let's see it's unfinished business. The longer they don't, the more it looks bad on Terry, Steffi, and Eddie, because it's just
hundred
like
percent.
you're protecting her instead of, you keep saying you want them to fight the best. Well, Tasha's proved herself now, and you all thought it was an easy gimme. It wasn't. If you're that confident of doing it again, and you've brought your S&Cs on, and you've done this and you've done that and changed Terry up, well, come on then. If you're that confident, let's go and do it. But Natasha will fight her. She'll fight Hamadouche. She'll fight any of the world champions. She'll move up to lightweight, and she'll even fight at lightweight, like welterweight. So anyone from 130 to 140, Natasha's open to fighting.
Listen, the country, the people, the boxing fans, the majority will agree that she got robbed that night. We all know who won that fight. and who should be the world champion right now. And we prior to that fight, we had many podcasts regarding that fight. Me and Jermaine, who's part of Pound for Pound, said that they are underestimating Natasha Jonas, and they did, and they saw that night what she's about.
Yeah, and like I said, she's improving all the time. We had a great camp. We had a great sparring. Chantel Cameron, who's now world champion as well. And yeah, we just have to make sure, and her management company press and get that fight. Do you know what I mean? A Christmas present or New Year, and get that world title fight. And like I said to you, there's other fights that they want to make and everything else, but that's one that surely has to be remade. She's earned her opportunity, and that's it.
We look forward to that. Another talented fighter under your books is Callum Johnson. Is there any news on we can see him in
Yeah,
2021?
yeah. Listen, it's funny for Callum Johnson. He's not fought, but his stock has risen, and his standing as number one in the country has cemented even more. Joshua Buatsi's performance, and Boy Nando losing to Alex Harper. And I understand sometimes how I can come across to people, and some people don't like me or they don't believe. And when I talk about Natasha beforehand beating Terri, they go, "Oh, fucking Gallagher at it again." Me saying Callum Johnson beat Buatsi and Yarde, he's fucking at it again, moaning. But I'm confident, and I back up what we say, and my fighters then back me up by proving it. Callum Johnson is by far the number one in the world in the country at the moment, and anyone that says different, make the fight. Eddie Hearn doesn't want to make Josh Buatsi Callum Johnson. That's why he comes out and says, "Oh, I have no contract with him. I don't know her to make me a fight." Because that's your way out of putting Buatsi in. Anthony Yarde pulled out of a British title fight against Jose Burton eliminator. So Callum Johnson, it's like I said, we've got to do something for Callum, and there's stuff on the line, and we're waiting to see. We wanted to defend our British title fight against Josh Buatsi, but Eddie said, "Oh, I'll give you a fight in America, good money, good profile, bring you back against Monaghan if Josh." So we did that. We said then after Buatsi's last fight, we'll fight Buatsi. He said he's out twice last year. We'll fight him on the AJ show this weekend. Oh, no, he's not fighting till next year, Josh Buatsi. So it's there for all to see. Like I say, everyone can believe who they believe in the moment, but I'm usually confident in Callum Johnson. He's just had some terrible news this week, so we're letting him deal with that at the moment. Close to him, a member very close to him has passed away, so he's dealing with that. He isn't having the best of time. But 2021's got to be a huge year, and it'll be a year that it'll show everyone. And Callum Johnson is the one out of this country that will deliver a world title. He's mad for a BTBF rematch, and he'd love the winner of the Joe Smith world title fight coming up as well. And if anyone wants a world title, to get a world title, it'll be Callum Johnson. Then, if you're about to say Yard, Lyndon's like newcomer on the scene. He needs more experience before he challenges CJ. They may think they want to fight Callum Johnson now, but I know Pat and that, and it's a case of slowly build him, and don't rush him in. So any of them, do you know what I mean? So Callum Johnson will take Buatsi anytime. But like always, they'll say, "Well, there's an offer." If you turn it down, it's like, "Oh, well, we offered it and they didn't want it." If you're selling a car for 10 grand and I offer you a grand, doesn't mean you have to take the grand, does it? But I run off and go, "Well, they made you an offer." It's like, come on, be real. The big Buatsi Yarde fight's gone now in London, hasn't it?
100%. After the Lyndon Arthur fight and Buatsi's last performance, they got no leg to stand on really to say that these two 100% will beat Callum Johnson. He's one of the most talented fighters in the country and very underrated, very underrated.
And the worrying thing for everyone, no one's seen the best of him, and he can do 168. So we're looking at avenues at 168, whether we move down, whether we look at mostly we try to put him in with a Caleb Plant, or we look at trying to do one of the other fighters out there, Billy Joe Ryder domestically. Do you know what I mean? Callum Johnson can do both divisions, and we're looking at both divisions at the moment.
That domestic fight with Billy Joe Saunders would be amazing. Even a Eubank Jr., a domestic fight against him.
Yeah, I don't think Chris. I think Callum's just too big. Hits too hard, too big. But like you say, a Caleb Plant type of fight. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. There's stuff going on, but we'll have to see. But if anyone wants to put an offer on the table for Callum Johnson to fight Buatsi or Yarde or Harper, then they've got the phone number. There we go. I bet my phone doesn't ring.
100%. It might do after seeing this video. You never know.
It won't. Trust me, it won't.
One more fighter I want to talk about is Liam Smith. Obviously, prior to the Crawford fight, there was that big talk of against Kell Brook. Is he someone he still wants? He wants next, or has he gone past that now and he's got bigger ambitions now?
Yeah, Liam's always they used Kell Brook at the beginning of the year. It would have made sense. There was no Amir Khan, and it was a good fight. They've sparred in the past, but I felt that was a carrot. Kell, fair play, was looking for the big fight, last money and everything else. And sure, he'd got more money for fighting Terence Grover than for like Liam Smith. But Liam Smith's goal has always been a two-time world champion. It's never to fight Kell Brook because there were two different weight divisions. It's when they started mentioning Liam, we got started talking about. But Liam's goal has always been to be a two-time world champion. And there's talk, I think they keep going about Jesse Vargas sometimes, still going on about that. Jesse Vargas won't fight Liam Smith. It's too dangerous, it's too hard, too rounded, and that would be a career-ending fight for him. So Liam's hanging in there and waiting for seeing what happens with Castillo's fight now. I think that's January or February next year, the WBO world champion, and see that. But Liam, obviously, he'll be out here for the big fight experience again with his brother cheering him on. And I know after the big fights, Beefy loves to get in and train and once a day. And it's a shame he's not fought this year, but it's a shame for a lot of fighters that's not fought this year because of the pandemic. Would have been nice to have got him out. But like I say, hopefully 2021 now, he'll be involved in a world title fight of some sorts. He's talented enough to become a two-time world champion.
100%. We spoke to Liam Williams last week, and we asked him, "Would you want the trilogy with Liam Smith?" And he said 100%. And I think it'd be great if Liam Williams beat Andrade for the title, and it'll be that trilogy for the world title. It will make more sense for that fight to happen with that magnitude of a world title than nothing on the line.
Well, I can see it from Liam Williams' point of view, but from Liam Smith's point of view, he's beat him twice. He beat him at Beefy's game first time, and second time he beat him at his own game boxing. So that's done with that. I mean, Liam moving up to middleweight, and if there's an opportunity and there's enough money, Liam can't turn down a sparring session, never mind a fight. Do you know what I mean? So Liam will fight anyone. I'm sure Liam will have no problems for that, but if that's a route for a world title, he'd much rather look at that. But I've always thought Liam against Castillo, WBO, get that belt back and then start being involved in big fights and in that division, unifications.
100%. We look forward to
Billy
obviously
Joe Liam Williams would be a good fight. Eubank Williams would be a good fight.
Yeah, that'll be a great scrap right there, especially
I
domestically.
agree with George Groves at the weekend. There's a devil in me. I think it's because of the build-up between the two of them, the way that they spat at each other. I'd love to see Eubank Billy Joe again, the second one. I just think it's a great fight, the back and forth, the love-hate that's going on there. And I just think Eubank's, I won't say more rounded, but more experienced now than first time round.
Yeah.
And Billy Joe's been a world champion at two different weights. I do feel that fight, outside of Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury, I'd say that's the next biggest fight that can be made involving two British boxers in this country.
I think he's improved a lot since the Billy Joe Saunders fight, especially he proved it against the Gale that he's improved a lot. After the loss against Groves, I think he learned a lot from that loss, and then he improved against. He showed that he improved a lot with the Gale fight. I think against Billy Joe Saunders, it'll be a great fight.
Yeah, and like I said to you, when crowds are coming back and everything else, I do feel, I'm just trying to think, that would grab the public's attention. That obviously the Eubanks, the strutting, Billy Joe, they're both not quiet on social media, but that's right up there with your Fury Joshua's for fans and attention. Now that is pay-per-view money fight. Do you understand? And not a £25 one neither, but it is a pay-per-view event. Do you understand?
100%. Well, the fight on the 19th is worth £25. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I think the good thing is, though, you can all watch it for
I
£1.99
already
for the month.
pre-ordered, already done it
Yeah,
today.
the same. I've set it all up for my mum before I go to make sure that she knows what she's doing and not panicking. So yeah, it's got to be a great night, and like you say, hopefully it's been a mad year of boxing. But Callum's got potential to go out there and become beat the pound for pound number one, and that'll be an unbelievable achievement and end to the year.
100%. Joe, before I let you go, your prediction for AJ Pulev, is it a walk in the park for AJ? Or has Pulev got that experience to make it hard for him and might create a shock like Povetkin did against Dillian?
Um, to be honest, I've not really paid much attention to it because Pulev, all right, what's he now? 39? Is he 40? 39?
40.
Yeah, he's had a couple of wins early on in his career. He beat Yui Fiore not long ago, one of his best wins, where Yui was still a boy coming through. Um, is what it is, and I expect AJ, supposed to be in his prime, everything else, to knock him out between 4 and 6 rounds.
And one more question. If you wasn't his coach, you're just a boxing fan, what's your prediction for the 19th of December?
Me, not his coach. See, I'm privileged to see an awful lot of coach. I don't understand Canelo being the favourite. I understand people saying, "Oh, Callum, yeah," and he only beat Groves this and Groves that. But I understand that. But we've all woken up to Mike Tyson got beat. We all woke up to Roy Jones got knocked out by Turver. We all woke up to Hunnigan beating Donald Curry. We all can wake up on the 20th to Cam Smith beating Canelo.
100%. Joe, I want to wish you, Callum, and the team best of luck. Bring those belts
No,
home, and hopefully we can speak to you again, and
yeah,
you can
no
have that
problem.
belt around your waist as well,
No,
just for
no,
the
no,
interview.
Callum. No, it's Callum. The fact I said to him, someone asked me today, what would this do for Callum and for yourself? And I said, listen, the fact Callum from start has now become the number one at 168 in the world, performed at Madison Square Garden in front of a packed house, defended his world titles there. Can't get much better than that. Being part of him now being the world number one and fighting the pound for pound number one, don't get much better than that. To be part of that, to win it is better. Just to be part of it just doesn't get no better in boxing, does it? When you start off in boxing, you've got to say you're world champion, then you've got to be involved, and you're the number one in your weight division, and you've got to be involved fighting the best pound for pound fighter in the world. That's storybook stuff, that. And not many
100%.
fighters get to do that. And Callum Smith's blessed now in the position that he's in that, and he's got to go out and carp DM, seize the day.
100%. We look forward to Callum doing it and bringing the belts home. Thank you, Joe. I
Cheers,
wish you
no problem.
guys all
Thank
the
you.
best of luck, and thank you for
Yeah,
taking your time to speak to
no
us
problem.
today.
Cheers, thank you. Cheers,
Take
boys.
care.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.